Well, let's start with any sort of team news, injury news ahead of tomorrow. Is there any updates there?
Um, yeah. um,
Anything you can tell me?
yeah, I mean, obviously Cal's not available. That's obvious. Doyler trained today, but we'll check his reaction. Maybe is just a little bit a game too early, I think. But he trained and he trained well. Um, Ben Turner trained full. Brindley trained with Ian Hutton, but isn't ready. Maybe another week or so, but making good progress.
I know he's the one we always talk about, Cal Roberts, but he's the one on everyone's lips. Is there any diagnosis there that you can share with us?
Not yet. No, we sent him for a scan again today just to check, and then we'll learn more when we get the results of that. But we haven't had any no news yet. I think he's going to stay a couple of days in Newcastle just to be around his family. It was difficult to come into the game and then have to come out like that. So yeah, I mean everybody was disappointed, but we'll wait for the results and then we'll go from there.
Just touch on the weekend. After the game, you said that you were much happy with the second half performance compared to the first. Now you've had a chance to sit and analyse it. Do you stand by that? Is there anything new that you've learned?
No, I think the game was pretty much how I've watched it again a couple of times, and I think the first 20, 30 minutes, they had a lot of territory. They didn't create big chances, to be honest, a lot of crosses. And they had quite a bit of the ball, and they caused us some problems with their shape. But we didn't attack well enough and we didn't press well enough. After we changed the shape in the second half, we definitely looked more the aggressors in the game. And I think anybody that watched the game would say that the bigger chances in the second half were coming to us. You know, we had Kyle Wootton had a chance, Jimmy Knowles had a good chance, Reevesy with his shot, Cal Roberts with his. So without creating what I'd say 100% chances, I think we have maybe edged it in the second half. And Hartlepool are a very good team, so I think on the balance, I felt the reflection we had afterwards was accurate.
A Hartlepool maybe a standard that the players should aspire to. Are you nearly there at that standard, do you think?
They're a good team, but so are we. I think we can match them. No problem. I think we match them in many areas. I was disappointed with the goal and the moment of the goal right on half time. And of course, the second one's a set piece in the last minute when we're down to 10. But I think that we can match any team in the league. So yeah, they're a good team, but we have to aspire to be better than that.
What about Solihull on Tuesday? Where are your biggest sort of threats against them going to come from, do you think?
Yeah, we've been watching. Me and Mo watched a little bit yesterday and started watching even more today. They've had a change of coach and got some new energy in the team. They're direct, difficult team to break down. Certainly away from home won't be an easy fixture.
It strikes me that since you've been here, we've talked a lot about the games and they've come thick and fast.
Yeah.
But I just wonder how you feel you're settling into the role. I mean, now you've had time to kind of get your feet on the table. Is it how you imagined it, or is it any different?
No, it's how I imagined it, to be honest. I mean, it's a brilliant club. Honestly, it's a brilliant club. Really, really good people inside the club, and they're a really good set of players. I enjoy working with them, and I feel like I've adjusted really quickly into the football club, which I guess is testament to everybody around it. Although it's been only a couple of weeks, it's felt like longer because we've had so many games. But no, I'm really enjoying it.
Touching on that, are there any things that you found harder, or any things that you found easier in that sort of situation by coming to the club?
I mean, it's hard to come into a kind of barrage of game after game after game. I mean, it's good because you learn so much, but there's so few time in between. It's just it's obviously full on, but it's I mean, that's the situation it is. So it's been good. I enjoy the matches. The only thing we'd say is the little bit more time out there on the training field would be welcome. But I think we're adapting the training really well to the circumstance.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and I think we touched on it when you first arrived. When I did an interview with you about a week or so after you arrived. How is it? How are you adapting to kind of moulding the team the way you want to mould it, but not having that time on a training ground that you probably would normally have?
I think me and everybody would just have to be a little bit patient with that, because you can't solve everything straight away. We've got good players that can play, that can win matches and play good football the way that we want to. I guess it's just going to take time. That's normal, but we're finding solutions through like today. Okay, today should be a recovery day, but we've used it to do a lot more tactical work and get some information with the videos, and we're using the video analysis quite a lot. So there's ways that we can get our message across, of course.
I guess is it a balancing act really of wanting to get that information fed into the players, not overloading them.
Exactly. I mean, we have to understand that we're new in, full of enthusiasm and ready to go, and the players are coming towards the end of a long season, so and a challenging one for many reasons. Like everybody's had a challenging year. So we kind of we've got to strike that balance really, between keeping them fresh and getting them the info we want.
I asked this question to Neil Ardley before he left, and it's because of the stage of the season we're at, not necessarily in terms of games, but the month of the year. Can you now, and this is harder for you maybe being a new manager, but are you able to look at next season and think about planning for what next season might look like for Notts County? Is that something that you've already had to contend with in your thoughts?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have to. We have to take care of what's happening now, but we also need to spend time on planning for how is it going to look in the summer, how is it going to look going forward, what do we need, how do we... not just players, but everything around, what things can we improve upon to make us better. So, yeah, I mean... primary aim is to take care of Solihull Moors tomorrow, but of course we also side to that have to plan for the future.
Lovely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers.
Hi Ian. I just on Callum Roberts. What have you sort of said to him to sort of try and lift his spirits somewhat?
I spoke to him yesterday. It's not easy. There's not so much I can say to cheer him up right now because football players want to play football, but I think he knows that everybody in the club, cares for him and of course wants him back, and everybody's supporting him from that point of view, so it's not an easy time. And I think probably as he goes through his career you learn a lot, probably more about yourself through the difficult times, so he probably, although doesn't feel it now, will probably learn a lot about himself going forwards with this. So hopefully there's no real positives to take when you're a footballer that can't play football, but you have to try and use it to test your character a little bit.
With obviously Callum being out and we don't know how long for, has that altered your thinking in the transfer market somewhat? Because I think you might have presumed coming in you thought you would get him for the rest of the season, and that's not transpired. So has that sort of made you think that you may have to look elsewhere to bring somebody in just to help you out through the rest of the course of the campaign?
No, not really. Not unless there was an absolute standout that I thought. But no, I think we've got good players in the squad, and we have to trust those. Like I said, unless there was something really big went on, I'm not sure that we'd go back into the market necessarily.
And I suppose it's difficult at this time of the year with everybody right at the back end of the campaign that the players that you perhaps would like aren't available.
Yeah, I mean, most of the if players are playing every week 90 minutes, they're probably not available. So most of the players that you take aren't maybe necessarily playing week in, week out at the moment, and therefore you've got a period of time where you've got to build their fitness up, and then that's the same as some of the injured players returning. So I guess, unless it was a special situation where we felt someone would come in and make a huge impact, I think we need to trust the players we've got.
And just on Solihull Moors, what do you think their sort of major strengths are going into the game tomorrow night?
I think defensively they're well organised. They sit a little bit lower and want to counter, and again, like we faced in a lot of situations, set plays are going to be important. I mean, if you look at the goals now, we had the penalty against Aldershot, and then against Woking, the 2 goals came as a result of set plays. A long throw resulted in a penalty and a free kick, and then a corner was the last goal. So 4 of the 5 goals we've conceded have been set plays, so that's something that we've really got to pay attention to.
How difficult is it to work? Is that something you've been able to have time to work on specifically on the training ground? Yeah,
I mean, like everything, we haven't had hours and hours on the training pitch, but we have to dedicate some of it to tidying up in those areas and being better, because teams that play against us, certainly teams that are lower in the league, like Woking, for example, they see an opportunity from a set play. We know that, so we've got to really take care of that, because we can create more open play chances, but then we're kind of conceding the chances through set plays. So we've got to be, switched on for that.
And going back to the game against Hartlepool on Saturday, what have you got to do better tomorrow night to get a result?
I actually think we've got to be more on the front foot when we don't have the ball. I think we sat back in it. We played with the back five and we defended with the back five, and I don't want us to sit in a five. I want us to be more on the front foot, more aggressive. When we don't have the ball, and I think that will give us a more positive approach when we get the ball.
Lovely, thank you. I wish you all the best for tomorrow night.
Thanks, Lee.